Hey everybody, I hope you're having a good week. It is big announcement day, so even if you're not, it's about to get even better. I'm Chris.
And I'm Alex.
And this is the Unwinding Podcast.
Hey y'all, this is the Unwinding Podcast, the podcast where we talk about all the things that help us unwind in life. Like I said, my name is Alex.
And I'm Chris.
And we're the Windings. And like Chris said, we've got a big announcement coming at y'all today.
Should I get the drums out of the garage and do a drum roll?
We should have thought about that. Chris is a drummer, if you didn't know. He could have been like...
Yeah, that's actually better than your Halloween Horror Nights impressions.
Okay, well, we don't have to talk about that anymore. It's fine.
I'm glad that made it out and didn't actually get edited out in the last podcast because I don't know if anyone else is going to find it funny, but I found it hilarious.
All my sound bites. All my really, really good noises.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like no one cares about this, but you did a lot more of the editing this week. It was like your first week in the editor's chair.
I did.
And so I got to chuckle a little bit more when I listened to the fully out podcast than I usually do because I've heard I've heard the jokes 5 or 6 times by the time it gets out. But congratulations on your first week as editor.
Thank you. Yeah. For those, most of y'all probably know, at least if it's our friends and family listening, Chris is the tech guy. I am not, but I am learning.
Yeah, you're getting better all the time.
I'm learning. You can teach an old dog new tricks.
She said old dog. I did not.
It's fine. So, do you want to say our big announcement, or would you like me to talk about
No, you do it and rip off the Band-Aid.
Okay, so this is going to come to no surprise to most people, but we're moving to Florida. That was a good sound effect.
Yeah, that was my vuvuzela.
If in the post edit we can do little yay in the background.
Yeah, like this is
I don't know how to do that.
PewDiePie or whatever. Yeah, there we go.
He's yay and little like on the YouTube video, little like no fireworks.
Every single idea that we've come up while we're sitting in these chairs with, like
we have not done.
It's
y'all.
It's like a mad scramble to get. But now, hopefully, it's understandable, right? Like starting the podcast and also like trying to get our house ready to sell and everything has just been like so much work.
Yeah.
Over the last 3 weeks.
Good transition into the last couple months and the next couple months.
How would you spell that? Blah.
It's blah in a good way though, because it's like all really good things.
Yeah.
But it's just been really, really busy, and honestly, it's happening really, really slow in my opinion, because we tend to take our time to do things and to make decisions. This has been something. Like I said, it's probably not a huge surprise to most people that know us. We have been in Florida together since last September, so a year. We went last September for a trip. We went January for a trip. I was in February, the beginning of February, for a travel agency trip. Then we went back in the end of February for a Tron preview. And then we went down there in May for our cruise. And then we went in June for my birthday trip. And I'm about to go again next week. That's, for me, 7 trips to Florida in a 12-month calendar year, and 5 for you.
Yeah, I think we're what you would call 5 Golden Mickey status with Southwest Airlines.
I mean, except that one time that we flew Spirit, and it was, I won't say it was atrocious. It just, we are used to Southwest, so it was a little different. But, yeah, so we've been to Florida a lot the past year, and honestly, this discussion has been going on, probably it's been like in our heads for maybe 2 years, but it really started getting like more real, I guess, probably about a year-ish ago, maybe a little longer. I don't know. It was always, for me anyway, you speak on how you felt. It felt very like, that's never going to happen, but that's cute. Or
at first, because if you, I don't know, you walk around on a really nice February or March day in the park and you go, man, I could live here. This is really nice.
Yeah.
And you let yourself think that. And then you're just like, you can very easily, whenever you get back on the plane going home, list off like 5 or 6 things that it's like, okay, it would not be as good as you would think to live there, right? And like, slowly,
but that's okay.
Slowly for you.
Okay, maybe at the beginning, at the beginning.
Yeah, but like slowly for me over time, I was like, it would be. I think going to the parks change a little bit more when we decided we were going to go more. We started going to the parks a lot differently, right? You stop rushing through things, and I don't know, you just experience it in a completely different way because you're not going rope drop to park close
it's not like
night.
I'm not going to be here for 5 more years.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we're probably going to be back in a couple months, so
yeah. So I don't know, like for me it was there was a point in time, I don't really know when it was, but like though that list of like we wouldn't want to move down here because of that, like those things just kind of eventually all evaporated off. And I guess it was probably the beginning of this year that we started getting serious about like like what would have to be true in order for that to happen. So and then it's been 9 months since we kind of decided this is something we should go do, that we actually are gonna do it.
Yeah, so it was, like Chris said, it was more, we do a yearly at the beginning of the year kind of sit down and go, okay, what do we want this year to look like? What did last year look like? What, just kind of our goals. And
10 out of 10. I would recommend that for anyone.
That may be a whole nother
you don't have like a
whole nother podcast that we could talk about.
Yeah, because it's not really related to travel, but it really does. If you're thinking about at a high level,
it is in
once
a way
a year
for us anyway.
Yeah, no, because one of our goals is to travel more. Right?
Correct.
And like
we kind of talk about the budget for the year for that and like what trips we want to potentially take. So yeah, I mean it's definitely part of it.
We want to. I think we would both agree that like we want to get overseas a little bit more.
Yeah.
And we're traveling so much from Tennessee to Orlando for Disney World, which I don't really want to stop going as much as we're going to Disney World. But I also do want to travel more and see some other things. You know? So
no, I think that's a really great point because that was kind of like. I feel like that was what happened kind of last fall into the early part of this year because we were thinking about, okay, do we want to renew our annual passes to Disney World? And both of us were like, we do. Like, we want to keep going the amount of times that we get to go because we knew Tron was opening. We knew like these things were coming and we were like, we really want to be able to go. And
then Universal's also throwing down this year.
Oh my gosh, yes. And we're not even annual pass holders there.
Yeah, no, they're doubling out. So it was like, do you want to spend more money to become annual pass holders and live in Tennessee and just go more to there? It's like...
Yeah. We were spending a lot of money traveling to and fro. And that was with some of the perks that we have with, Southwest points and with being a travel agent. So we were still spending a decent amount of money. And so when we sat down, we were like, we really want to keep these annual passes. We still want to go. But both of us were like, but we also really want to go to these other places. And we were like, we can't do both. Like we can't afford to fly down to Orlando 3 to 4 times a year like we want to and go to 2-3 other places. Like right at this point, we just couldn't. So we were like, well, in the back of our head, it's something we've always kind of like toyed around with. And we were like, what would have, like Chris said, what would have to be true for us to actually make the move? And one of the biggest things was our work positions, basically, of being remote or able to work from anywhere. Both of us needed to have that as a thing. I've been working remotely since 2020, so that wasn't, that was kind of an easy move for me. And then we just kind of had to both get on that trajectory. And when that happened, it was kind of like that was the biggest kind of thing that led us to, okay, now what?
Yeah, and I think your travel agent job going as well as it has been, and then just kind of like taking the leap into that a little bit more of like, hey, it starts small and it takes a lot of time to build, but that's kind of like any business. Like go try and build a business. You're not going to be profitable from day one, but like That stuff is starting to go really, really well. And the content production, like I have always loved making content, right?
Yeah.
So like when we decided, okay, we're really going to do this and stick with this and be consistent with some of the content, like some of that stuff just gets me super excited. So
yeah.
I'm trying to think of, I worked a 40-hour, I don't know if you said this, but I did work a 40-hour a week in-office job about 40 minutes from the house. Yeah. So it was the first week of July that I started a remote job. And so that's a lot of change. Then we started the podcast. Then we started looking at the real estate market in Orlando and the differences and kind of try and time all this stuff up. And it's
been crazy.
It has been a lot, but it's one of those things that I knew every step from whenever we were talking about it in January, like in the goals meeting. Like I knew what every step would be. I just didn't know how I would feel at every step,
Oh, for sure. And how busy, because this is something I also didn't say, but I had my full-time job outside of being a travel agent. I actually quit this year as well.
Right.
And so I was working at a job for about 5.5 years, and everything started getting way too busy. You know what I mean? Like this spring, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm doing so much. And it's not that I necessarily hated that position, but I really wanted to move out and do my own thing and do the travel, really be able to put all my efforts into being into the travel agent and start doing more content and start doing kind of some things that we knew we wanted to do together. And so I let that go. So again, that was another change that was like, remember I said I was doing things that scare me? There's another one.
Yeah.
It's just been thing after thing after thing that we've done this year that honestly, like the things have been going right and we've just been continuing to move forward with it. But when we first started thinking, I think we were kind of more in maybe June, July, when we were like, okay, you're getting another job. Let's start looking at places, but we won't probably move till the spring of 2024.
Yeah, that was the original plan.
And then we were just kind of like, I mean, why not?
Yeah, why waste the whole season of really good weather in Florida?
Yeah.
and then
sit here in the gray weather.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're not. I mean, so why not just see what has to be true to move forward? And what had to be true was we own our home here in Tennessee, was putting it on the market and getting it ready to put on the market. So the last, 3 solid 4 weeks, we have built a new porch with the help of my dad, and we have painted the front door, and we have met with realtors.
Oh, we painted the whole house at the beginning.
Oh gosh, yeah, that was last fall.
Yes, all this nice white paint around us.
Yeah. We painted almost the entire house, which is about 1,200 square feet. So we painted almost the entire house. We've, put in new blinds and new light fixtures, and we've been kind of doing that for the last 1.5 years, and then really the last 3-4 weeks we've been like, okay, here's our to-do list.
Yeah, we have an actual punch list for
and it's a lot. Yeah. We're having a yard sale tomorrow, which by the time this comes out will have already passed and hopefully was very successful, and there's a lot of crap out of our house. That would be ideal.
So even if you wanted to come, you are 3,000 and late.
Yeah, very much. So, I mean, we're downsizing, which if you've been to our house, we don't really even have that much. But what we do have, we are, just kind of pacing it back because we're about to be dragging all what we do have 9 hours away, and we don't want to have to take it with us if we don't have to.
Yep.
So, that's what has been up the last month. We're moving to Florida.
It's weird to say out loud.
It is weird to say out loud.
What do you think you're the most nervous about?
Honestly, right now, with how crazy things are, I've had a hard time even being nervous about the actual move. I think we've talked about this, that like my brain really can't comprehend it yet because I'm just focused on the next 24 hours and what has to be done in the next 24 hours.
You're just kind of going from like task to task.
Yeah, because I am still with my previous full-time job. I'm still working contractually with them, so I'm doing a few things to kind of wrap up some projects there. So I'm working there. I have my group fitness classes that I teach, my travel agent work, content work, starting the podcast. I think I have 17 jobs right now. And it's a lot, but you know, I've never been known to not be really busy.
I think one of the hardest things out of all of this is having all of the irons in the fire and then still trying to, and this kind of goes back to how important like the year goal meeting is, because if you don't have that where you kind of dream about what the picture looks like at the end of the year and start setting some of those really big goals and then working backwards from there, like it's really easy to get lost in the weeds and like not accomplish anything, right?
100%.
And it gets even harder like whenever you're doing it as a couple, because both people have to agree on what the goals look like and what the future looks like, right? Which is really, really hard to do, you know, like 2 months out, let alone for an entire year out. So I don't know, maybe we don't see exactly the same thing for a year from now, but this one was more than years past. I feel like we're more wanting to go towards the same things.
Yeah, I feel like we've been together almost 10 years, married almost 9 in about a month.
You just lost Gen Z.
What?
You just lost Gen Z.
Why are you so mean to Gen Zs? They probably aren't even listening because they're too cool for us. They'd be like, nah, too old millennials.
They want you to do some girl math.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, you're old.
Yeah, I guess so. I know girl dinner. Girl dinner. Girl dinner.
Oh, okay. It's so girl dinner, you know how it's not real dinner?
There's my singing bit for the
girl
podcast.
Math is not real math, but you use it to justify.
So is it a mean thing? Is it a mean thing against girls?
No. Girls
is it like going to Target and being like, I only spent $20, but really I spent $100?
That is it. Yes, that is girl math.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. I feel like you have a little bit of girl math, not me.
Only
we're getting off topic.
Like buying recording equipment, maybe. But yeah.
Chris is like, yeah, it was $100, and I look at the bank account, it was $125, and I'm like, $125 is a little different.
Tax in the state of Tennessee is
that's true. it's kind of crazy. Anyway, getting back to our task here. I don't even know what you were saying.
Oh, I was talking about the big goal of this year. Like there have been years in the past where we like don't necessarily disagree on where we're going, but I feel like we're both very much like, yes, this is the right move for us right now.
Yeah. No, okay. Yeah, I know what I was going to say after that. Yeah, so we haven't done the goal meeting every year for the past 9 years. This is really only something we started maybe like
4 or 5.
Yeah, maybe not even that. Like I feel like maybe before COVID, but right around COVID times is when maybe we started doing it. We've always been like good about talking through things in the last like 5-6 years, but really I think the last 2 or 3 is when things really started ramping up. We started traveling more. We got out of debt. So, because honestly, before then, our goal was to get out of debt. Like we didn't really, the meetings took about 5 seconds. It was like, how much money do you have to put on these student loans?
What are we going to do this year? Well, we have $80,000 in student loans left.
We're going to pay off 40 of those or whatever it was. So yeah, when 2020 rolled around and we were able to pay those off, it definitely kind of helped move our track to, okay, what do we want to do in 21? And, you know, and from there it was more traveling and, you know, making our house a little bit more homey and things like that. So yeah, so there's the obvious reason we're moving to Florida, which everybody listening to this is probably going to think one word when they hear that we're moving to Florida. And what is that word?
Food.
Okay, no.
I'm just kidding. It's Disney.
Yes, Disney. So, of course, it is a big contributing factor, right? I mean, we love Disney World. We have a whole podcast where a lot of what we talk about is Disney content. I'm a travel agent specializing in Disney destinations. We love everything related to Disney, whether it's Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, Disneyland, one day all the Disney overseas parks. But it's not the only reason that
we don't really love Genie Plus.
Well,
you said we love everything Disney. I just want to throw a little shade.
You can continue now. Genie Plus at Disney World.
Yes.
We like it at Disneyland.
Yeah, no, significantly better.
Significantly better for some reason.
I distracted.
You definitely distracted me. But honestly, like, yes, it is a big contributing factor, but we wanted to also kind of talk through like the other contributing factors that led us to this decision. One of them being weather. And it's not that it's awful in Tennessee weather-wise all the time, but we joke that there's about 6 days out of the year, and there's about 3 in the spring and 3 in the fall that are just like perfect days.
And we had one yesterday.
We did have one. I don't know. It was a little warm still.
Oh, get out.
Touch
you
warm.
Are too hard to please.
Touch warm still. I don't know if I would have called it perfect, but we really just don't have that. I feel like the if I were to describe Tennessee's weather, it's fickle and gray the majority of the year. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, you're going to die in Florida. It's so hot. Won't you get sick of the heat? And I'm like, it's still really hot in Tennessee during the summer. But when y'all are freezing in 30-degree weather here in Tennessee and it's gray and depressing outside, it's like 75 low humidity with the sunshine on your face in Florida.
Does not suck.
So the weather is a very big contributing factor. I very much have SAD, S-A-D-D, oh my gosh, what's seasonal affective disorder? Maybe it's not SADD, maybe it's just SAD. I have SAD, the seasonal affective disorder, where it really affects me bad time. Bad during the winter months. And this last month or this last season of the winter months was rough for me.
Yeah, I feel like that's why we always go to Disney more in January, February, March.
Yeah, for sure. We're just like, please let me get out of here. So, yeah, and the good thing is too, since we both do have jobs that we can do from anywhere, we can travel back here for several weeks to visit family, to get a little bit of that like fun, hopefully snow weather, a little bit cooler weather. And then during the summer, we can come back here and like not sweat by like 5 degrees less. It's really not that much different, I don't feel like, but it's a little bit warmer down there, but to me, not that different.
I chalk the weather up to like a little bit of grass is always greener. Like, there's pros and there's cons about the like both places weather-wise. Because yes, the warmer, but also hurricanes and bugs. Like,
yeah, but we have bugs and tornadoes here.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm saying there's a little bit of grass is always greener. But on the whole, like, I would much rather be warm than cold.
Yeah, and I just prefer the sunshine. It makes my mood better.
As I get older, the blood doesn't really go to my toes the way that it used to. And so cold feet during the day is not something that I really enjoy. And so
there you go.
Maybe down there it'll be a little bit better.
Maybe it will be.
Who knows? I'll let you guys know. I also think aside from the weather, going down there, like the travel industry is really fun right now. And I think this might get a little too in the weeds for like the announcement conversation, but
it's okay. They know you're a nerd.
Disney and Universal are very, very in an interesting place right now. Like, Universal is doubling down on their parks experiences. Disney, like, hasn't really created that much intellectual property that has gone into the parks. Like, we're gonna have some cool stuff opening up at Epcot, right around Moana. But I just think that those two are in a battle right now that's pretty interesting to be like down around and experiencing, like, as all the new things open up down there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to be, if y'all been to Epcot in the last couple of years, I mean, there's just walls everywhere, and they're about to start coming down.
I don't even remember Epcot pre-walls.
Yeah, when we went in 2019, there were pre-walls, but I don't remember it very well either. So, I mean, there's like the whole Moana water, I can't remember what it's called exactly, but it's like a water area it's very cool if you look it up online. And then with the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind ride coming that came a couple of years ago, I mean, it is so good. And yeah, you're right, Universal is just like really up in, not that I don't know, I don't necessarily think that they didn't have a good game before, but they just keep adding things as well. And the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Diagon Alley, and Hogsmeade is just sick, and Velocicoaster is sick, and it's just, there's so much about it to be excited about. They've just opened up the new Minions Land that has a new cafe, a new bakery, a new ride. Like, that's the ride, when you look at some of the stuff about it online, like, it's very unique to what it is. It's one of the shooting style games, but it's done differently. And so it's an exciting time for the travel industry. And when it comes to things outside of Disney and Universal, when you go down to Orlando, I mean, you have Busch Gardens, you have SeaWorld, you have some of these other places that are all in that area that we've never gotten to experience, because when we go down there, we're like, no, we have 4 days. We're spending it all at Disney World. We want to be in the bubble. And that's Universal as well. Like, we've been to Universal. I've been a little bit more than you have just because of the travel agency, but you've really only been like 3 days total in the last 4 years. The first trip we went 2 times, and then we went 1 day last September. And just the little bit extra that I've gotten to go, like, you're going to love it. And it's really, really cool. Like, Volcano Bay, the water park that you've not gotten to go to. Neither one of us have ever been to Disney's water parks down there, because again, like, we spend most of our time in the 4 main parks. That's something we want to, go and experience. We're at in Central Florida, literally an hour-ish, hour and a half on either side are beaches. So we're going to be really close to Tampa Clearwater and St. Augustine, and not to mention Port Canaveral is like an hour-ish away from where we're going to be, which is where a lot of cruise ships go out of. And we have become cruise people within the last year. That's where our cruise in May goes out of. So we don't even have to pay for lodging. We're literally right there. We just drive over to it. There's just a lot more down there that kind of connects with the goals and the desires that we have right now.
And I don't think all of that wasn't really present in my mind whenever we first started talking about it. It's, I don't know, that it was the decision whether or not to like get more invested in travel this year or not.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, from where we were sitting, just thinking about where we go for like the next 5 years, a lot of the opportunities, a lot of the doors that seemed like they were opening were in the travel space, right? Mm-hmm. And doing more traveling and just like seeing more of the world. And you can't do all of that stuff and go from Tennessee to Orlando to Disney,
because Disney World, Universal, they are no longer going to be our destinations.
Sure.
They are our backyard. They're our weekly, hey, Friday night date night, you want to go get a drink and a snack at Epcot and then hop on the monorail over to Magic Kingdom and watch Happily Ever After. I've not thought about the dates.
That's a good thought.
Date night at all.
That's a good thought.
So, or hey, let's, it's Animal Kingdom closes at 8 tonight. Let's hang it. Let's, right over there at 6:00, get in Nomad Lounge, have a drink, and then walk around and maybe sneak on to Flight of Passage before the end of the night when it's shorter. I mean, it's like stuff like that we still get to go and do what we love, which is Disney Universal theme parks, but that becomes our regular weekly stuff. And then we can take more cruises. We can go overseas. We can, visit more of the United States that we haven't gotten to do. And then we still have the ability to go and working remotely, go home and visit family and be with them for several weeks as well. So to me, it's kind of the best of both worlds, at least sitting on this side of it. You know, who knows, 6 months to a year, what we have no idea, you know, but to me, looking at it from this lens, it's like incredibly, incredibly exciting to be living down near the place that we love to be.
Yeah, and I think it definitely means more content for the podcast, more in like different types of content. Like I don't know if I want to be like a straight up like review podcast or something like that, or like review or news or whatever. It'll become what it's going to become, but it will be so much easier to just get, instead of talking about content and going back, you know, like through all of our footage from the last couple trips that we've taken, it would just be really nice to know, oh, we're planning to talk about this. You know, it would be really cool if we went to the park and shot something specific for the podcast. Like that, to me, that would be super cool. And it's a lot easier to do like shorter videos and things like that, and just kind of like plan a lot more. And it takes a little bit of the stress off of like, we do that a little bit now with some of our shots going down before trips, but also it's like, if you didn't get it, you like,
got to get it in 6 months or 4 months. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So I think it helps for the podcast. Like I think the content will be a lot better. So
yeah. And I mean, you're exactly right. What were you going to say?
Honestly, I don't think that we would have done the podcast if moving to Orlando was, I don't know, for me it would have been,
it was kind of all tied together a little bit. It was definitely tied together. I think honestly, like the podcast and stuff has kind of been like a little bit of, or a YouTube channel and the podcast have kind of all been a little bit of like a I don't know, just kind of in the back of our heads, like maybe, but who knows, one day, since like 2020, when we did the ramen tasting video on Facebook Live during COVID, when we were in the house, couldn't leave. So that's always kind of been something I'm like, oh man, I think it'd be fun just to sit and talk, you know, and show it to people and see if they think it's fun and they enjoy talking with us or listening to our conversations. And now that we have a little bit of a, you know, niche with travel and Disney and theme parks and things like that, it made sense for us to do that when we knew we were going to be moving down there. I'm so excited to be able to, because like you said, when we were especially the last year going down, I knew, okay, I need some content for Instagram for the, you know, to promote my travel agency work. And I was like, had a shot list, a video and B-roll that I wanted to get. And like, I feel like we did a really pretty decent job at trying to we had a good mix of the trip was work and fun when we went this past year. But there wasn't a part of it that was like, hey, I got to get these specific things. And that kind of goes away a little bit. And we can specifically go to the park and know, okay, we do want to go get this content for the podcast. So it's a little bit more work related. Or tonight we're just going to go and have fun and leave our phones in the car and not even worry about it.
Yeah.
And that to me is so, so exciting because it completely changes the way that you do the parks, which I think a lot of people are thinking or I know they're thinking because they've straight up asked us. They're like, well, what if you get tired of it? What if you get bored of it? And I'm like, well, it's been like 3 years and we haven't so far. And I know we're not living down there by it, but literally every single trip we take is different. We do something different. Disney is constantly changing. We're big food people. There's constantly new food coming, the new festivals at Epcot, like.
And can I get on a soapbox for a second?
Please. I love when you do that.
Okay. So I'll speak about my experience and I won't try and speak too much about yours.
Okay.
In my 20s, I felt like a lot of it was like a lot of exploration and figuring out the things that I liked to do. And obviously like music is in there, right? Like some of this, like the media production stuff is in there. Software engineering is what I do for a job, right? So like, a lot of my 20s, I spent kind of just figuring out what was out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a very you know, like turning 30 and looking at my 30s is more about like some of those things that I didn't have the ability to change whenever they were in my 20s. Like I do have the ability to change them now. So like picking out a house in Orlando.
Yeah.
Right? Like the podcast and the media stuff to me is super exciting. And that's like a consideration that I still had interest whenever we moved into this house, but I didn't have the ability to say, hey, whenever we're shopping for a home, let's consider a space that we can do what we want with, be a little bit more flexible, and use it for a podcast. Like that's just not something that realistically you can consider at that point in time. Now we 100% have that option.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like being able to give people who want to visit us their own space whenever they come and go to the parks and things like that. Obviously that's stuff that you want whenever you buy your first house, but like
it's unrealistic at that point a lot of times.
Exactly. And so you get, this house is great. Everyone's on top of everyone all the time whenever people come to visit, you know? So like, I feel like a lot of the things that I did not have control over, even though I was interested in them, they didn't really factor into what my everyday life was. And that is one of the most exciting things to me about this move is because it's not just the parks and the food and the things like that, but it is really, I don't know, letting me be a little bit more of who I am.
Yeah.
For the next couple years and actually having
for the rest of your life
to choose that. Well, you change.
I know.
Right? Like you change every 7 to 10
I understand what you mean though. No, I completely agree. I mean, yeah, I won't repeat everything you said, but I feel like I agree 100% with it. And yeah, thinking back to our 20s leading us to our 30s and being able to do some of the things that we really want to do and are excited about is because we really sacrificed a lot in our 20s when it comes to going and doing the things we wanted to do, buying the things we wanted to do or wanted to buy, and getting out of debt. We had a lot of student loan debt and car loans, and we paid off over $125,000 in student loans. And
we didn't have a lot of margin in our life whenever we first got married.
No. When we first got married, Chris was still in school working.
Yeah, I had like 6 months off.
Part-time at McAllister's, I think. And you had an internship that paid you, I think, like $100 an entire week. And you were there like 3 days a week driving to Nashville. And I worked for a nonprofit organization. I won't tell you our annual income, but it wasn't much. So we were 21. We were so young. I mean, we just didn't have a lot. And I don't think that, I'm grateful for it. I probably wasn't at the time, but like, no, now I'm honestly grateful for it because we worked really, really hard through our early 20s, mid 20s to get to the point that we are now. And then when we were 27, 8, I can't remember the exact age that we were able to officially say we paid off, all of our student loans, all of our car loans, and we were able to really start doing the things that we wanted to do. And I'm grateful that we made that decision and we're financially responsible in our 20s, even though our 20s weren't that fun.
Yeah, I feel like
our 30s get to be really fun because of it.
Yeah,
in our 40s and beyond.
We will for sure get into that at some point in a different podcast. But there is something to be said about just picking the right person, even whenever you're down, like with resources. Like you can dig out of whatever.
Are you saying you picked the right person?
No, I'm saying you picked the right person.
Dang.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I was saying. Congratulations to you. So, I think we have another section of this podcast we're going to do.
Yes.
That are questions about our move to Florida.
Yeah, so I thought it would, obviously I knew we kind of wanted to get a little bit in the weeds on why we're moving and blah, 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 everything that we've just done. So, but I kind of wanted to make it a little more fun too and just ask each other some questions. Chris doesn't actually know any of the questions that I'm going to ask him, and I don't know any of the questions he's going to ask me.
I don't know any of the questions I'm going to ask you either. She was like, I'm all prepared for this episode. And yeah, but you're going to be super mad if my questions are better.
And they probably will be because you're just usually better on the fly than I am. But it's fine.
I have years of not preparing his experience.
I got yelled at, but not yelled at. I shouldn't say that. You don't ever yell. But you were like, we should have an outline for the podcast and know what we're going to say. And so I did it and had questions. And now you're like, I don't have any questions.
You're like the super type A, like did good in school kind of person. And I'm like, yeah, I got like B's. But
can I really quickly just say that I showered today for this, and I feel real good in my hair.
Dude, your hair looks really
real good.
Yeah.
Hopefully it looks good on camera and people aren't just like, ugh. Well, sorry about the podcast listeners. Like, go to YouTube and look at my hair. And my shirt. I forgot to talk about my shirt really quick.
Yeah, what's up with that?
So, I don't know if you can even really see it, but it's Robin Hood's one of my favorite Disney movies, and it's a Robin Hood shirt. And then the back, I'm going to show the back super, super quick.
Hey, sure, whatever. You're going to disrupt Nella, but okay. All right, so she's turning around towards the camera. Now, I fought for like 45 minutes on the focus on this new camera, and yeah, you probably can't see it. Well, I don't know. We'll find out later. But that does not look like officially licensed Disney intellectual property.
I don't believe it is.
I feel like somebody definitely made that shirt.
I really don't know. I got it at this shirt. It's very large on me. I think it's like a 2X, maybe a 3X. And I was like, I'm going to buy it anyway because it's perfect and I love it. And you never see merch from this movie. So I purchased it and I got it at a little like... I think it's just like a vintage t-shirt shop down here in the borough. So anyway.
It's very you.
Yeah, I was very excited about it. I got it for my birthday. So I got to pull out my questions here. So we're going to ask each other. I think I have 4. So you're welcome. You don't have to come up with 5. I think I told you earlier 5. So you
can come up with as many as you want.
All right. Are you ready for your first one?
Bring it.
Great. What's the first thing you're going to do when we move to Florida?
Probably sweat a lot, moving all of our stuff into a new house. No, in all, this is
I should have caveated it as like fun thing.
Yeah, it's maybe a dumb thing to think about, but it is top of my mind because I feel like I'm going to go into a mode where I'm going to be super pragmatic whenever we get down there, and I really just want to find out where I can swim. Okay. That's it. Like I want to be able to lap swim
in the lake with all the gators.
No gators. That's actually that like because that is the thing is I'm like there's giant bugs and gators and I would like to have a lap swimming pool somewhere nearby. So I'm probably going to find one and I'm going to go for a decent swim.
You might get lucky. Some of the houses that we have looked at have pools with lap swimming in the neighborhoods.
In like the neighborhoods. Yeah, for sure.
You might get lucky. Or maybe we'll buy a house with a pool. That's exciting. All right, it's your turn. It's your turn to ask me a question now.
Okay.
From cool. your brain.
Yeah. So what do you think is a thing that you have put off in the park, either for the podcast or for your own enjoyment, that you kind of it's never been a must do for you, but but then once we get down there and it becomes like a Thursday night thing, you know, like what is something that you would just like want to hop over and do just because you can that was never really on your radar before or not high enough on your priority list that it was like hey, this is a must do on a 4-day trip?
Wow. That's hard.
I'm sorry.
No, it's a great question, but it is hard. First thing that came to mind when you first started asking it was doing, which we've done this before, was the animation experience. Like just doing that more because I love the animation experience at Animal Kingdom and Rafiki's Planet Watch. I love it so much. But then you started saying like things that you don't normally do. And we do try to do that in some variation. So I don't know if that necessarily fits into it. Honestly, I think it's going to be relaxing more at the lounges and bars.
Yeah.
Because
there is a lot of food on some of the menus that it's like,
yes,
this is a good second option. But like every time we're in Animal Kingdom during the day for lunch, we go and get the same barbecue.
Yeah.
Right?
Like because we want it because we haven't been in 4 months and we're like, we have to get this barbecue.
This is good. And I know
yes, I'm not going to have it in 4 months. So I need to have it again or maybe longer.
Completely agreed.
No, I think really it's going to be that. It's going to be branching out and eating and drinking more things that I want to try. But like you said, it's like, no, but I got to get my favorite because we're not going to be here for a while longer. It's like, oh, I could just get that next week. So I'm going to try something different. Yep. And that, our food budget is going to have to increase when we move down there.
We'll see.
It's going to be great. All right. Question number 2 for you is, we've kind of talked about, Disney World have been our big trips lately, and moving down there, it provides us some more opportunities to go elsewhere. So where do you want to go on our first trip outside of Walt Disney World when we get down there?
For sure, Europe.
Yeah.
Like, I know that we've talked about going and doing a Disneyland Paris. Like going
and London.
Doing that. Yeah. And going and doing London. I am not really an international soccer fan. Like, I'm a fake soccer fan to all the real soccer fans, but in the last couple of years I've paid more attention to some of the international teams, and I think it would be pretty cool.
It'd be really cool.
There are, like, soccer in the United States is growing like crazy, and a lot of the stadiums that are being built are new, but over in Europe, so many of these iconic stadiums like Old Trafford, like, it would be so cool to go check that out, right? And see it in person, because I just don't think they're quite as, they're kind of in that, like, the Americana equivalent would be like the Ryman, right? Like, we've experienced that here, and it's a venue that is larger than itself because of its reputation worldwide, and I just think there's a lot of cool old places over there that I would really like to go check out.
Yeah, and you've never been overseas.
No. Yeah, just South America.
You've just been to Canada? No. You've not even been to Canada, have you?
I went to Canada once as a child.
Okay. So Canada, Mexico area. Okay. And the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Next question for me.
All right. Next question for
you.
Dig
deep down in that brain.
Is there anything during this whole process that has been the thing that would most likely, like, make you question a move to Orlando the most?
Okay, yeah, bugs.
Yeah?
No, legit. Like, I will be first thing on my list after we buy a house, before we even move into said house, I will be calling a pest control place and having it sprayed. I cannot do it. The first rental house that we lived in back in the day,
the Roach House,
had some cockroach problems, and I went and was not mentally stable as we lived there, and I can't do it anymore. So we're big Nashville Soccer Club fans, like Chris was just saying. Soccer is big for us, and outside of moving away from the people that we love, moving away from Nashville Soccer Club makes me weep thinking about it. So Orlando has a soccer club. And Chris Windings, do you think you'd ever become an Orlando FC fan?
Yeah. I'm not going to say that you can be a fan of more than one team. You for sure can. Before Nashville had a team, LAFC was my team, right?
But you don't like them anymore?
Because my attention hasn't really gone to them. Carlos Vela has not been as great. That's a hot take, but he's coming back. But,
most people don't even know who you're talking about, so really it's probably not a hot take.
For a while he dipped. I don't think a lot of it was his fault. It was, a lot of the team. Their center back, whenever I first started liking them, was Walker Zimmerman. Now he plays for Nashville. Like, he is what the team is built around.
Okay.
I think the way that it changes, I will always love the Yotes. But I do think that if it comes down to, like, not going to soccer games, right? Like, I just can't see myself not going to soccer games.
Okay, yeah,
and so,
I get that.
When Nashville comes to Orlando, yes,
we
those will probably be the first games that we go and see, right? But, like...
And I'm going to wear my gold and be the only one probably with gold jersey while everyone's wearing purple.
Yeah, but Orlando is building, right? Like, they are in a spot now that we were a couple years ago before we started getting some of the more foundational elements of a team. So
yeah, I definitely think we'll go to games, but I'm gonna miss Nashville Soccer
You're
Club.
also like a super loyalty person.
Yeah.
As well. So like it will take you accurate. A lot longer to change over, I think, than it will me. And also like
yes.
Yeah. I was gonna make comments about Miami and Messi, but we're not even gonna go there because I'm angry still. So
we don't talk about Messi. No. Your turn.
My turn? Okay. I don't have a good question.
Yeah, because you should have prepared. Because I have another one for you.
You do have another one for me?
Technically, you should have 2 more for me.
Okay. I got one for you.
Okay.
We're going to edit out the time that I spent.
No, we are not.
No, you're going to make them watch all that?
No, I'm not all of it.
It was like 20
but
seconds.
I'm just going to say.
So just chill. But I did get some shade. I could feel her eyeballs. I could feel her eyeballs the whole time. All right. What is the place in Florida that is not Orlando that you're most excited to check out? Like, we've been to Miami before, but like, is there any other area in Florida that you would like to go, maybe you went as a kid or whatever?
I don't know what it's called.
Oh, that's going to be super helpful.
But I can look it up online because I've seen it on other people's YouTube videos and Instagram places.
Okay.
Should I look it up or should I just explain what it is?
No, just tell me what it is.
Okay, so it's like you can go and I think kayak and swim and paddleboard. It's actually on this couple who are from Britain. They're British and they come to Florida like several times a year. They love it there. And they went to it in one of their YouTube videos and it's outside of Orlando. And I was like, oh, that looks so fun. But I have no idea what it's called. I'd have to go back and look at their video.
It's the American dream, being in nature without being in nature.
Especially me. I don't love the creepy crawlies. I don't want to get chomped by a gator.
Yeah, no, or get leeches or something.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah,
no, thank you. Okay, so your last question is, how are you, as a fair-skinned person, going to survive living in Florida, also known as the Sunshine State?
Air conditioning. Like, just stay inside. Like, I have no problem going full hermit for a couple months. You know, not like, I'm joking a little bit, but it's like I don't know. I feel like I've been asked this question multiple times from people that we talk about moving with, and it's like, you know, I'll just like stay inside or like maybe do my workout a little bit earlier in the mornings, and we'll be fine. Yeah. You know, like.
Wear your sunscreen, your mineral sunscreen, because you got little fair baby skin, and it breaks out from the regular sunscreen.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I do. We actually did not know during a trip that we were down there.
During two trips, it happened twice.
Yeah, and it was during COVID too, so it was whenever we had to wear all the masks. And so like I think that's what cued us off, right? Like that's what
I don't know.
It had to be something not the sun, because my face was like burning underneath the mask.
And you were like, there's no way.
How did the sun get through the mask? Like somehow COVID can't and the sun can. I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and so he started Googling and he found out he's actually allergic to some of the ingredients
in a ton of sunscreen. Yeah. So we have to get a special
So we get expensive mineral sunscreen, and it doesn't bother him at all.
Yeah. Well,
and you have a lot of hats now, which can help shield your scalp.
Maybe bucket hats. Bucket hats might be. I don't know. Never mind.
I'm not sure. I can see. I pictured you in a bucket hat because my dad has a bucket hat, and I kind of laugh a little bit when he wears it.
Maybe that's a 40 thing. Like, I'm 30 now.
The Gen Z wear bucket. No, that is like a new thing. My dad is hip and cool at 62.
When they start wearing cargo pants, I'm out.
I'm pretty sure all the 90s, early 2000s stuff is coming back like hard.
Then makes we need to get more cartoons like Rocko's Modern Life back, please.
Ooh, mercy. Right. So, do you have another question, or is that it?
Do I have a final question for you? When are we moving?
Yeah, so great question. Great question. We don't have a for sure date yet. We are in the process, like we've talked about, putting our house on the market here. So we're a couple weeks out from getting it ready to go up. And then from there, we will, start getting a house down there and start the process. So our guess is end of October, early November. Our hope is to get down there prior to Thanksgiving, Christmas season, when it gets a little just, busy for everybody and things like that. And and get out of here before the bitter cold and gray weather starts, and get down there when it starts to get real nice in Florida.
Moving whenever it's cold is not going to be, that would not be a ton of fun.
Yeah, we'll keep y'all updated as we go throughout the weeks. And I'm not sure we're necessarily going to be doing a ton about our move. We might. I'm not sure it will be
if you want it, just text us or comment.
Yeah, if you want us to talk about it more in detail, we can. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I just don't know how if you actually want
interested in that.
If you want that information and in what format, but we're happy to talk about it further detail if we want to talk about that, or kind of the financial journey getting us to this point, our goal planning meeting, blah blah, any of that stuff we've talked about. We're pretty open books, so y'all just let us know what you want. And so that's great. And my last question, which we ask every week, is how are you unwinding this week?
I can't use my same one from last week, but my running has been going so well.
Yeah.
My zone 2 running.
I mean, you can still use the same one, but
yeah. It's a little bit nicer outside right now. So
yeah.
My unwinding this week, yesterday afternoon, I worked a little bit out in our backyard. And so I think that's gonna be my vibe until I think next week it's supposed to get a little bit warmer. But
that's great.
Yeah, my unwinding is just going to be just doing some work in the evenings, in the afternoons outside.
I love it. So for me, when this comes out, is the night that I will be going to Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, spooky.
So, Halloween Horror Nights. I had to get another one in there for you. So I leave Tuesday. We're recording this a few days early, but I leave in a couple days to go down to Universal Orlando. So I'm excited to get back in Florida. It's been not that long, 2 months, 2-ish months since we've been there, but I'm excited to get back. I mean, it's been a while since I've been to Universal though. It's been a year for you, and it's been since February for me. So I'm excited to get back at Universal and unwind a little bit there. Things have just been going just hammering hard here. So I'm excited to get down there. I mean, it's still work related, but it's fun work related. So I'm not sure I'll be unwinding at the Halloween Horror Nights, but the whole trip in general, the next day when I go to Volcano Bay and relax on the lazy river and, take a deep breath from all the screaming.
I'll be enjoying hearing from you.
Yes.
About the scare trip.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm honestly really excited about it. I know I'm really brave right now, and it probably will be scary when I get there, but it's going to still be fun. We still got a lot of other fun things that we get to do. So got a big week coming up for me, and you'll be holding down the fort here with the Poochies. And, when I get back, it'll be a week of, we're going to be doing landscaping. So,
yeehaw
indeed.
Well, you guys have a great week. And until next week, I'm Chris.
And I'm Alex.
And this is the Unwinding Podcast.